Hey there, this is David from the True Blue Sand blog, and Susan shot some video for me yesterday, and I'm adding a trailer to the front of it here to look at a situation. We used to get questions quite a bit when I was working, and I see them on the internet yet. People ask, how far away from your house should you have trees? And our standard answer for years was 40 feet. You know, if it's going to be a large tree, you want to have it at least 40 feet away from your house. That may be enough, maybe not. Depends on the tree, depends on how other situations are around your house. We have trees that are closer than that, but we're planning on getting them out before they get much larger. If it's a small tree like a dogwood or a redbud, you can have them pretty close. They never get very big, and they're easy to take down. With soft maples, especially silver maple. Silver maple is a fast-growing, weak-wooded tree, and it rots quick. I tell people, don't let a silver maple grow within 100 feet of your house, because they'll get 90 feet tall pretty quick, and then they fall apart. You don't want them falling over, and 90 feet is a long way, so you want to have it at least 100 feet away from your house. Anyway, I'm out here behind one of our barns, and we're going to just look at the situation. This got away from us. We were raising a kid and taking care of the other place, taking care of the parents, and this is where Susan's parents lived, and they're both gone now. But anyway, so this is the north barn. We use this for keeping some of our equipment. We got an old car in here. We keep our firewood in here, and here we got a line of hackberries. I got a big cherry here, got a little hickory right there. There's a hackberry. A hackberry down there behind that, just over the drop there. There's a hickory. Yeah, there's a hickory right there in the middle. There's a hackberry in the middle now. There's another hackberry out beyond it, and a hackberry there. And the trouble is, this is on the edge of a woods coming up to the barn, and the trees can't push out into the woods. They push over the barn where the sunlight is. And you see this hackberry right here, forked, and it's going right out over the barn roof. And so what we've got there is a tree with a bunch of back weight. If I look at the center of that crown, the center of that crown's a good 12 feet off the stump. The center of it is. And I'm gonna have to get creative to get that tree down. We really cannot get a contractor back here with a bucket truck to deal with these, so I'm gonna have to get creative. And I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is take a rope from that far hackberry over there back to this one with the fork, and put a block there, and then come back to that little hackberry over there and put a block there, and then I can get back here and pull with the tractor, and that way I'll have essentially two lines on it, and I think I can bring it over. That fork is up high enough I really can't deal with it. I can stand in the back of the RTV, and I can't quite reach that. And what I would like to do is to undercut that thing, make the compression side, remove the compression side a bite at a time, make that thing fold down until it just lays on the roof without actually falling and hitting it. That's what I'd like to do, but there's no way I can do it. I'd have to climb a ladder with a chainsaw, and we do not do that. You don't do that. If I had a man lift, I could get out here and reach out with my pole saw and do it, but we aren't going to do that. But yeah, I can't quite reach it if I stand in the back of the RTV. And also the trouble with it, when you're reaching out there with a pole saw, you're getting your cuts in there at an odd angle, and it's hard to judge exactly what you're doing. But I think if I get two lines on that, and hook to those other trees, I can pull that thing right over. It's just a little bit too far to depend on wedges entirely. But I think if we get a rope on it, get it set up, get it wedged up good, I think we can, you know, combination of wedges and rope, I think we can get it. The next one, yeah, you know, the next one out there, that one right there, it's pretty straight tree. It's got back weight, but not bad. That one will be a pretty easy tree to wedge over. And then you see on down there, I've got a shingle oak, and then I've got a black oak down there. In fact, I'm going to pick this up and move it, so we'll make a little cut in here. Just take out a little edit. Shingle oak right here. And if you look, he's only a little over 20 feet from the barn. And then I've got a nice black oak right there. And that black oak is plenty far away from the barn. We may destroy it though, because we are going to take down this big hickory. And of course that hickory didn't grow up on my watch, but it was here and I've never dealt with it. What the rest of this video is going to be is cleaning the leaves off of that roof. And you see that hickory has limbs that reach out over the roof. Move this again. Anyway, you can see that hickory reaches out over the roof, and so it dumps leaves on there. And up at the house we can hear hickory nuts hitting the barn roof. Well, what else it has done is you see like there's a big branch, you know, it loses big branches. Well, that has dropped a few branches on that roof in the last few years, and it's split the roofing. It's tin roof, but the roofing was, you know, getting old, and boy, it split it. Anyway, we got up there yesterday, we daubed them up with tar. We're going to have to replace about a dozen sheets of roofing up there next year. So anyway, that tree's going to come down. I don't like cutting this one because it's got back weight and side weight, but hickory's pretty good. I think we can pull it here to the north with wedges pretty easy. I'm going to take a couple limbs off the back side of it. I can get up on the roof with a pole saw, and I can ease down a couple limbs that are giving a little back weight, get rid of those. And look over there, there's a walnut tree over there. It's not reaching over the barn. But my gosh, look at the way that tree leans. That tree's a disaster. So that tree's going to come out. And mention those hackberries. See that one that's nice, that light yellowish green? That's a hackberry. Those darn things, they grow like weeds. And we've got some of those popped up in here. But we're going to try to get this where we've got everything at least 40 feet away from this barn. And hoping we can get that hickory down this winter without smashing one end of the barn. I don't want to find out if I'm a barn builder or not. So, but I think it'll go okay. It's well within our normal amounts of lean we can handle when I look at it. But if we smash the barn, I guess it'll make a good video too. Hey, before we get up on the roof and blow leaves, I want you to take a look at this hickory out here on the north side. This is on the north side, and look at that hickory. Look how far off vertical that stem is. And you look up there at the crown, find the center of that crown, draw a line straight down, and it is a good 10 feet. You know, the center of that crown is a good 10 feet off the stump. And about a 60-foot tall tree. So if you move that 120 inches, and you can't wedge that tree. This is where we've talked about wedging a little bit. That's a 60-foot tall tree. We have a 6-inch distance between the back of the tree and the hinge. 6 goes into 60 feet 120 times. So if you raise that an inch, it moves the top 120 inches. That's 10 feet. That's great. Except that top has so much leverage you can't do it. Even though that's not a very big tree, 120 segment tree, you are not going to be able to push that with a wedge. And you probably have to use a couple wedges, and there's no room. Little trees are hard to cut. There's no room there to play around with your wedges in there. So we're going to pull that with a rope, and we get up there and hang a rope in it, and you have to find the vertical. You get right here, and that tree is nice and vertical. Find your vertical, and we're going to go straight out from that. And there's a nice oak tree down the hill. It's just to the right of this hickory stem. You can see it down there about 50 feet. We'll put a block there, run the rope through the block, and then run the rope over here where I can hook onto it with the tractor. We'll put a good strain on that, do our cuts, and then pull it over. That's how we'll do that. So make your plan before you start cutting something like this. If you try to, you hear people say they can cut a hinge thick on one side and make that tree turn. Don't try that stuff. Find where that tree's vertical, make a proper hinge, and either pull it or wedge it over. Don't try to make a tree do a dance on the stump. That stuff doesn't work. I've seen lots of stumps in the woods and where people have done that kind of thing. The tree goes where it wants to go if you don't make a proper hinge. And I've had lots of loggers tell me, oh, I can make that tree turn and go over there. And the stumps I see in the woods don't bear that out at all. And then we got a nice cherry tree here, and that tree's big enough I don't want it here anymore either. That is a big tree. It's a good 18 inches diameter, a little bigger. I remember that when that tree was just like a 4 or 6 inch tree, grew like a weed, and it looks like the first 8 feet is a really nice log. Might be good to cut that one up into lumber. So anyway, we're going to get rid of that one. I don't like a big tree next to the barn. A big wind out of the north, push that right over on the barn and smash it. So that tree's going to go. And you look up there, when you're out marking timber for sale, you're always looking at the condition of a tree. And up there we got a limb that's about 3 inches, it's dead, going into that tree just above one log. You're up over about 18 feet or so. And then above that on the right, you can see there's another dead limb up there. And there's one right here on this side, about a 2-inch limb. So we've got like 3 dead limbs angling up. Moisture goes in there and you get rot in that log. And we'd class, when I measured timber, the way I did it was class 1 was a good tree, solid tree, no problems, no defect to deduct. 10% would be like a tree with a 2 to 4 inch limb that's dead where water can get in. That's a class 2 tree, and you do a 10% deduction. Class 3 would be like a 6-inch dead limb up there, or multiple dead limbs. Also class 3 would be one with a fire scar at the bottom. A fire scar that's open, and if you got an opening down low, another opening up high, that tree, you got to sound that tree and see if it's solid. But even if it's solid, you've got discoloration and punk starting up. Anyway, class 3 trees is automatic 25% deduction. Rather than try to scale it down, we just did 0, 10% deduction, or 25% deduction. If you figured the tree was half gone, 50%, then it was a cull. You just put an X on it, and that was one a logger could take with no charge. And usually they don't even touch one that you think is a cull. But anyway, so that is a class 2 tree. Means 10% deduction. In class 2 hardwood trees, you figure I ought to be getting it out of here within 10 years, because it's gonna turn into a class 3 tree. It's gonna go backward rather than increase in value. It's gonna lose value. So we might make that one into some cherry lumber and stash that in a barn. We'll see we'll think of something. It's really nice, a nice enough tree. I shouldn't turn that one into firewood. We turn a lot of trees into firewood, but that's actually got a nice little 8-foot segment there. We can cut a low stump on that and get some nice clear lumber on that. And the next thing is, when we cut it down, how much heartwood does it have? If it's been growing fast, it may be a third sapwood. Hopefully it'll have a lot of heartwood. So, and then above that spot right there, that'll be firewood. See, we got a lot of knots, so that will be really low grade lumber above that. So you get firewood and lumber out of that one. Anyway, we got plenty to do. We've cut some of the trees around here on the other side. You can see, we took out a walnut last year and a shingle oak over there, and we've cut some trees on this side, but the old barn needs a little bit of help. And first thing we can do is get rid of the trees that are causing the trouble out here. So anyway, we're going to go get up on the roof now and blow leaves. So thank you very much again for visiting.